Good morning. I'm glad to worship with all of you this morning. And I'm glad to reflect with you for a few minutes on this passage we just read from Luke's gospel. You know, Jesus often teaches using short stories. This is a hallmark of his teaching style. And these stories, we call them parables, they're often perplexing and confusing. They make us stop and think. And they often take something we know and they make us flip it around and see it a little bit differently. Think more broadly. Jesus tells us today about a widow. She would have been particularly vulnerable in Jesus' time. There wasn't much in the way of employment opportunities for her, and she couldn't inherit her husband's property. Talk about unjust. So in this story, this widow here is vulnerable. And she's got an action in front of a judge who could help her, but he doesn't care about doing the right thing. She can't help herself, and she needs this judge to do his job. And it's only after she bothers him long enough, persists in coming to him long enough, that he relents and grants justice for her. We get to hear his thoughts in this story, so we know his reasoning here. And then Jesus says, if even this unjust judge finally does the right thing, think about how much more fair, more just God will be. If we are persistent, then God will help to bring about justice. 12 years ago, this parish community had buildings that were increasingly inadequate for the size of our mission and our parish. And we all together dreamed of an expanded campus here that would allow us to continue to grow. This was the project that led to our parish life center and our education building. And it's been super successful at powering our growth over the last decade. Our mission has expanded, our community has expanded because of your vision way back then. These places make us a more vibrant parish community. They allow us to fulfill our mission in new ways. Thanks be to God. But your vision back then was larger than just this. You decided that an expanded vision for our mission as a parish would include a permanent physical presence in Austin that would allow us to reach more people with the message of God's love, with God's love in action. And once we had settled on a site in Southeast Austin, it's now the Hill, you saw a need there that we were particularly well-suited to meet. You learned that 90% of the need for early childhood education in the zip code of the Hill was unmet. That for every 100 kids under kindergarten age in that zip code, there were 10 spots for childcare. And you knew that we had decades of experience educating young children. It's a particular charism of this place. And you put all this together and imagined a school at the Hill that would help prepare kids in that neighborhood to be ready for kindergarten. And you imagined that it would be all day and year-round so that parents could work. And you imagined that a significant portion of the students would receive scholarship assistance so that this program would be accessible as widely as possible. And in 2018, Hillside Early Childhood Center opened with 7 students and a vision, your vision, to help change the lives of kids and their families in the neighborhoods around the Hill. Many of you know this story. You've lived it since the beginning, and some of you are new to it. Hillside's now at full enrollment with more than 90 students, and there's a waiting list of more than double that number. And Hillside has achieved the highest quality rating from the Texas Rising Star Child Care Quality Assessment Program. And this year, Hillside was accredited by the National Association for the Education of Young Children. That's a designation held by only 3% of licensed child care providers in Texas. It means that your program, our program, Hillside, holds its educational offering, the quality of its teachers and administration, its facilities. It holds these out to others to be assessed against the highest standards. And you can be proud of the program you have built, we have all built together at Hillside. One Hillside parent of a 3-year-old and a 19-month-old said recently, her words now, "Hillside is the best place my children have ever been. I want the best start for them, but it is hard, and I feel so lucky to have this school. And I thank God because I have what many parents do not. This place has made such a difference for my family, and I am so grateful." And it is you and your scholarships that you support that allows this family and these kids to attend Hillside, and it allows this parent to continue to earn a living and support her family. And it is our mission. But it takes all of us to make this happen. You know, high-quality childcare is really expensive. And Hillside's mission is to financially support a significant portion of its student body. And part of your support for the parish allows this to happen. It's what we do together, and it takes all of us to have an expansive vision for ministry in our city like the one that you and I have. And it requires persistence. I mean, anytime you're dealing with young children, it requires a dose of persistence. Maybe some patience, too. But this mission for us has required some organizational, some institutional persistence. Hillside had to restart really from the ground up coming out of the pandemic. And it continues to be a real challenge for Hillside and other childcare providers to find and retain teachers. And the economic model is tough. It requires careful planning. It's a challenge. But I am so proud that we are up to this challenge and that this is part of the mission that you and I share together. For many families, for many of these kids, we really are changing the course of their lives. And with your continued support, we will continue and expand this mission. Just come over to Hillside after this service. Right after the service, Paige has decorated her car. You're going to see it out in the parking lot. Follow her over to Hillside. You can have lunch, see the school. We'll have lots of activities for kids. 1700 Woodland Avenue. I'll be there for lunch. I hope to see you there too. Just before Jesus tells this parable in our gospel today, the author of the gospel tells us what this story is all about. And he says it's about prayer. Did you catch any praying in there? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said in the 1960s, after he marched for civil rights, that it felt like his legs were praying as he walked. And Francisco Garcia quotes Heschel and also theologian Dorothy Sowell, who says that prayer does not produce, in her words, prayer does not produce a new vision of God, but it produces for us a different relationship to the world. One that for us has borrowed the eyes of God. One of the things that Hillside does for us individually and for our parish community, and really all of our outreach programs do this too, they make us confront problems that are larger than our ability to solve. We can help some kids, but Hillside's waiting list is really long. Spend much time over there and you will realize that the need is great. And sometimes for me, I'm tempted to just ignore big problems altogether. But thinking that what we do matters, that we have something to offer, it's a characteristic that comes from prayer. Perseverance, persistence, it's a characteristic of prayer too, our story today says. Our conviction that with our effort, with our perseverance, with God's help, we can help spread God's love. Us borrowing the eyes of God, Garcia writes, so that we come to see the world a little more like God does. The possibilities for redemption all around us a little more like God does. When we borrow the eyes of God, we'll see the problems around us more acutely. The suffering of others comes more sharply into focus. Those near to us and those far off. We can't overlook it as easily as we otherwise might. And the ways that we have something to offer, that comes into focus too. Through the eyes of God, we see more clearly that we can do something about it for those near to us and for those far off. We'll see suffering and we'll see the possibility of redemption. With God's help, we have something to offer. And this journey, this lived, walked prayer, it changes us. It shapes us into the people God calls us to be. And it's the kind of prayer that happens when we walk the path to which we're called. When we see the need to spread love, and when we believe with God's help that we have something to offer. And I'm so glad to share that call with all of you. I'm really proud of the ways that together, all of us follow this path, and Hillside is such a significant example of it, but there are so many examples of it in this community. Some as simple as you individually reaching out to someone you know who needs to be loved, and others as complex as all of us together building a whole new school. With your persistence and with your support and commitment, and by seeing through the eyes of God, we can spread Jesus' love. And I'm so glad to share that mission with you. Amen.